主席跟我们谈一下，你今天来要跟学员聊一些什么？
今天主要还是来跟我们年轻的学生们谈一下哦，这个全球化对于我们年轻的世代将来所带来的挑战哈。那我们希望就说全球化是带来挑战，但是也带来机会哈。那我们也希望年轻的学子哦可以善用这个机会啊，能够勇敢的面对这些挑战哈。那么尤其是说对于这一些未来的这些挑战能够有一个坚定而且勇敢的心情来面对。
谢谢。
Well, thank you, everybody. It's great to be back at the National Taiwan University. Professor Lee, Pei Hong, Xu Hua, and the rest of the young and talented organizers at the GIS Taiwan. And ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. Well, you have to be louder. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Yes, that's DPP style, you know. Well, I'd like to thank the organizers for putting the event together. These events are important as we look towards how the next generation can contribute to our society. I also appreciate the welcome from our participants. By joining this event, you have shown that you have already taken the first steps in building a better future for all of us. Before I address the issue of challenges and opportunities for the young generation, I'd like to say something about Professor Lee. Apparently what he has said just now are particularly for my years. And I mean my years. And this is another attempt on his part to exercise influence on me. I can assure you that he has never and will never stop trying to exercise whatever influence he has on the politicians here. So I heard what you had to say, and I want to tell you that because of you, I have taken into account of this forthcoming Paris Agreement into my policy agenda for 2016. It's going to be hard, and it's going to be very difficult for a government to take into account of this Paris Agreement, the forthcoming agreement. And it's going to be a lot of challenge for us, especially at a time when we're trying to how to reshape and restructure our industry here, while we'll have to make sure that we have sufficient supply of energy, given that we have an agenda to phase out all the nuclear power by 2025. So this is something of a challenge for the DPP, for the next administration, and for Taiwan as a whole. But I'd like to talk about the young generation first. I know that many of you here study the different disciplines. Whether here in the NTU or in other universities and colleges throughout Taiwan, I understand that there are foreign students here. Would you mind raising your hand? People who are here from abroad? Quite a few. Hope that you enjoy your stay here. For the Taiwanese students here today, I think you are some of the best and brightest students in Taiwan. And many of you must be thinking about how you can prepare yourself to meet the challenges of the future. And make no mistake, your future will be different from your parents' generation. Some parts of it will be better. Some parts may not go as expected. But to a large extent, you will depend on the decisions. It will all depend on the decisions you made today. That's what brings me here, the question of how we can get ourselves prepare to meet the opportunities and challenges of the next generation. Last month, as some of you may know, I had an opportunity to visit the U.S. to speak with a wide range of policymakers, scholars, researchers, and members of the Taiwanese community in the U.S. In our final city, that is San Francisco, we arranged to meet with a number of technology companies and entrepreneurs. There are a few observations I want to share with you. We had a discussion at Cisco one morning. They showed us some of the innovative ideas they were working on, including how this idea called the Internet of Things is opening up new opportunities in countries all over the world. It is a broad concept, but the heart of it is quite simple. It's about how vehicles can communicate with each other to improve traffic flows, how power plants can communicate with electricity meters for more efficiency, and how people can communicate with government for more accessibility to basic services. These ideas were being discussed in a meeting room in San Francisco, but they have the potential to change how long a motorist waits at a red light in Keelung City here. It's a new era of finding global solutions for local challenges, and perhaps vice versa. And we need people that are capable of harnessing these solutions and bringing them back to Taiwan or delivering them from Taiwan to the world. My second observation took place in Facebook. Their headquarters was the floor-to-ceiling LCD that displayed in real time all the Facebook interactions taking place around the world. One of the brightest clusters was around Taiwan. That means we have the highest percentage of Facebook users in the world. These connections, which include friendships, business connections, and shared interests, extended to Japan, Southeast Asia, the United States, and other countries all over the world. It was a pertinent reminder of how inherently global we are here in Taiwan, even though sometimes we do not see it on televisions or newspapers. And being global is our strength. It's why Taiwan exports more than Spain, Australia, and Brazil. It's why we have the National Taiwan University, one of the top universities in Asia. And it's why we have such a diversity of cultures and experiences even right here on campus. When people think about globalization, many tend to think that factories, free trade, as well as its impact to laborers and workers, especially in higher income countries like Taiwan. These are valid concerns, and we must do everything we can to ensure that trade is responsible and that its benefits are equitably distributed. But we must also recognize that globalization is more. It's also about finding our own place in the world. The answer to this will vary, depending on the people you talk to. Politicians, for example, tend to define this statement in a geopolitical or strategic context, particularly given Taiwan's unique position in the world. But globalization is different for a group of young entrepreneurs looking to raise capital for their startups. For example, a group of 10 young people in Taiwan recently kick-started their newest 3D printer in both Europe and Japan, where they raised over 7 million NT dollars exceeding their target of 27 times over. This group, which comprised of just one person in 2013, now plans to one day sell their products all over the world. It's also different for young people leveraging technology to promote their local cultures. In Keelung, 3 culture enthusiasts recently launched an app, that is APP, that acts as a digital tour guide in museums and exhibitions, replacing cumbersome guidebooks and audio guides. Their first project, ensuring that people, including tourists, have easier information about cultural landmarks in Keelung right at their fingertips. These are true stories that are taking place right this minute all over Taiwan. We have put their stories up on my website. Across the country, we're starting to see young people leverage globalization to create new opportunities for themselves and for their communities. They show that the possibilities are truly endless. There are one phrase I was especially fond of during the Sunflower movement. That was, "It's up to you to save your own country." Now, if you speak Mandarin, in Mandarin, it's 自己国家自己救. With your education and your skill sets, today it's up to you to harness the new opportunities globalization is bringing. It's up to you to define your own place in the world. This doesn't mean that the government won't have a role. In fact, it gives the government a stronger imperative to focus its efforts on where it will count. The key idea is that it should facilitate opportunities where you can succeed. The first thing we should be looking at is how to strengthen our education system. At least by some metrics, Taiwanese have been better business people than educators. Our top company is ranked number 32 on the Forbes 500. But our top university, hopefully is NTU, is only ranked 155 on the latest Times higher education ranking. We need to look at how we can reform the system so that it can play a more central role in upgrading our industries, cultivating talents, and engaging in research. We need to step back and identify areas of opportunity in our economy and make sure that we are equipping our students with the necessary skills to take advantage of these opportunities. The second is how we can better support innovation and associated business development. In the past, 2 popular sayings we had in Taiwan were, the first one, everyone is an entrepreneur, that is 人人都可以创业, and every family is a factory, that is 家庭就是工厂. We need to regain that spirit. The knowledge economy means that new companies don't necessarily need large factories, but they do need places where ideas can be traded. So we should provide support for co-working spaces, maker bars, and other venues where innovation can take place. And because we want innovation to take place sooner rather than later, other areas where we need to work on include access to startup capital and ensuring that our regulatory environment is one that is conducive to international talents. This brings me back to my last point. When is the best time to start? As an old proverb once said, the best time to plant a tree is 20 years ago. The second best time, of course, is now. The fact is that Taiwan is at a crossroads, especially in terms of our economy. On the one hand, some of our challenges are daunting. Our current economic track is unsustainable. Studying hard and being a good student doesn't guarantee you a well-paying job or a decent lifestyle. A well-paying job does not guarantee you the prospect of one day buying an apartment. Our industry remains driven by cost-based efficiency and not innovation-based value. The benefits of economic growth have not been fairly distributed within our society. There is also a lack of trust in our government. The threat to our economic autonomy continues to be a great source of public unease. One after another, food safety scandals have undermined the faith in our institutions and products. But on the other hand, we see a great source of optimism and opportunity. Our young people are our best educated generation over. No one is better equipped or prepared than you to take advantages of all the opportunity that globalization is bringing. I'm excited whenever I see a young hostel owner. Hostel is a British term. It's also called bed and breakfast. It's a place to stay overnight, and they also offer you bed and breakfast. It's called hostel. Hostel owners in Hualien use Airbnb to promote her business. Or when an entrepreneur compares the difference between raising funding for his startup on Y Combinator in the US or AppWorks here in Taiwan. I hear the enthusiasm when innovators talk about 3D printers or visual reality headsets. So the question that we face is, will we let our challenges define Taiwan in the decades to come? Can we afford to sit by while China and other neighbors in Southeast Asia catch up? Or do we harness opportunity and create a new agenda to move Taiwan forward? I'm confident that your answer is the same as mine. What Taiwan will look like in the next few decades will depend on our willingness to find new opportunities and act today. Finally, I also want to share with you some of my own experiences. When I graduated from this university, that is NTU, in 1978, I never imagined that I would have a career in politics, much less one day become the chairperson of the DPP and possibly the next president of this place. Now, I was trained in law and economics. I felt that it was very natural for me to have a career that can make best use of the two disciplines. So after I finished my doctorate from the London School of Economics, I returned to Taiwan, where I spent a number of years teaching international trade, law, and policy. Since the mid-1980s, I have been working as a trade negotiator for the government. At the time, Taiwan was working on a broad range of trade negotiations, particularly the negotiations for entering the WTO, an enormous task that involved thousands of regulatory change. I was fortunate to have taken the chance to be the lead counsel to the negotiation team and help Taiwan enter the WTO. In 2008, I saw another opportunity to again do something entirely different. That was to lead the DPP from the enormous challenge we were facing at the time, despite the fact that I have very little political experiences at that time. Each opportunity has helped me better define who I am and what I can do. And in the future, I hope I will have the opportunity to face another and much greater set of challenges in leading and managing this country. So while I can't tell you what the world will be like in 2050, I can tell you that it will be what we make of it. It would depend on whether you harness the opportunities of globalization to find your own place in the world. It would depend on whether you will be prepared enough to take advantage of the chances and opportunities that arise. It will also depend on whether you can choose to look past the tried, tested, and comfortable way of doing things, because all across the world, these things have already been done. I encourage you to be adventurous and challenge yourself. Take risk and think outside the box, because that is where the opportunities are. And finally, thank you very much for listening to what I have to say. Thank you.